Okay, hopefully everybody can hear me with this being live right now. I figured since I was going to take a walk and go on a quick errand and I have all these ideas floating up my head, I'll go ahead and go live and potentially catch people by surprise with a mid afternoon stream. You will very likely not see me on the screen because I'm walking on my phone and it slows my phone down when it is. But you will hear a bunch of random noise simply because I am walking around out in the neighborhood at the moment. So pay no mind to that. Um, and if you're catching this on the replay, how you doing? Anyhow, I've just had some random stuff floating about my head for several days, and it's not really stuff that I think in and of itself would warrant a full video unless I was to really go deep and in depth on those thoughts. Just stuff that popped in my head that was like, oh, that's an interesting thing to think about or idea that would probably be pretty fun or cool. So that's the angle I'm hitting this from. I don't expect it to be on very long, maybe half hour tops. But I also said I was going to be streaming and making more content. So I'm doing that. And there's all of my random conversation points before I was actually inspiring to the last Stormcast where Trey Vito and Sandstorm were talking, and they said something that for some reason triggered an idea in my head, even though I don't even remember exactly what it was that triggered this particular idea, but it sat in my mind. Actually, I think it was because when they were talking about how the Wii U basically showed you communities and stuff up front and how certain games do that. Yeah, that's it. That's where this idea came from. So it hit me to have, and this is totally off the top of my head, but to have a beat 'em up game, but you have a hub world or hub area that's very similar to like the world tour from Street Fighter 6 or like the one from Dragon Ball Fighters. Either one of those is fine. I prefer the one from Street Fighter 6 because of what I'm about to say. But the premise is it's a beat 'em up game where you make your own character, and as you get you get a basic set of moves and stuff that you start out with, but you get different styles of martial arts to be able to use. But you have a basic thing that you start off with, as you learn more as you play. So through repeated successions and playthroughs, you earn more stuff, you earn more moves. But the main thing about it is that it's supposed to promote community. So the idea is to have a hub world where you can go in, take on missions by yourself, but you can also get a group of people to go in with you. Like you're setting up your own gang wars in this idea. So like in the hub world, you'll see other live active players and you all get together. Either again, you can go solo, take on a quest by yourself or mission by yourself, or you can gather up to like six people. And I think six is a good number. Six is a decent number. I wouldn't say more than that, but you gather up to six people to go with you to take out like different gang leaders. Like each stage that you take on is a different gang that has one to two, maybe even three different gang leaders that swap out every time you take on these stages. Unless you get really unlucky, is you have to fight all three of them. Like there are different checkpoints where you could potentially fight bosses, and each checkpoint is different. Like each checkpoint would either be a place where you can stop and rest for a minute and get your characters healed up, or it's a boss. Sort of, sort of in the same similar style as to River City Rants, like where you have certain spots you can go to and rest your character up with. Maybe even the areas that you fight in River City Ransom. That's actually not a bad idea. See, again, this is all off the top of my head. Hey, what's up? Let's switch games. I'm not ignoring you. I'm just running through this idea. And thank you about the video. But I think that'd be a pretty cool concept if you have combat like River City Ransom. Like maybe the game world operates like River City Ransom, but the gameplay style is somewhere more along the lines of Streets of Rage or Final Fight, like where button mashes is simplest, but you can have combos and special moves and stuff like that are in the game. Oh gosh. See, this is why I didn't want to do like a specific video on this, because this isn't really a formed idea, and it's also not the only one. But that'd be a cool concept. I would be up for that. You can have your friends join in the game, 6 of y'all get together and go tear down a game. That would be cool. That would be something cool. Maybe if it's even if it's set in like a style of like Sleeping Dogs, even would be pretty easy, pretty interesting. How did I get kicked out of my own stream? Ooh, that would be pretty cool, Trinell. Shoot. And I was in the middle of my thought, and I lost my train of thought once I looked down and realized I wasn't on it. Oh, I was saying it could also probably operate like Sleeping Dogs. That would be pretty cool. No, I'm back. I'm back. I don't know why I got bumped out my stream, but I'm back. That was a little rude of the internet to do to me. But it would be sitting here thinking about it. But that does lend credence to a good thought, Trinell. Throwing in there that depending on who you beat. Oh, that's messed up. StreamYard didn't want to be nice to me. I mean, I guess y'all could understand me enough, right? And this is one reason I wanted to do this, because I want to test it out while I'm moving around. So I guess that's good that I know that. Bad thing is I can't hear myself back unless I were to try to run something at the same time on my phone, and I can't quite do that. But shoot, now I'm losing my train of thought again. Well, bouncing off of what Trinell said, that would be. I think that could be pretty cool. Like, if depending on how many bosses you have, it throws at you because the bosses would be RNG. Actually, I think even having the mooks you fight, like each gang would have a certain few types of mooks, but you would get RNG on who you would fight, or what mooks you would fight. So that way you never really run into the exact same play experience more than once, unless we just did seed numbers for each one. Then you could copy a seed down that you really particularly like. That'd be cool. Uh, I would be up for that, Trinell, but the problem is, certain company has a trademark on that, I believe, which would not really allow it. I mean, you could. Well, they call theirs the Nemesis system. I think if you threw a different name on it and added in the context that it's in a beat 'em up, it could work. It could work, especially if you were to bounce it off of the different types of relationships the particular gang leaders have. Like if they're friends or they're like really rivals to each other or something like that. That could make for it to be very interesting. And even when I say boss characters, I mean they are the ones with the big health bars that you run across. But you could also have mid boss style characters that what you saying that this type of revenge system could operate off of. Like if we're just to say certain characters have different types of relationships with people, and it's a particularly strong relationship, then one of the like mid tier boss type characters could run out and try to jump you in the middle of you trying to progress to another enemy. That'd be cool. That would actually be really cool. That would require a lot of voice acting too, but that'd be really cool. I'd be up for that one. Like you beat down this dude and you going on to fight his main partner, but his girlfriend jump out of nowhere and try to bash you in the skull with a brick or something like that, and then start fighting you. That would be cool. I mean that really. I'm trying to think. There was something that had a concept like that before, and I'm trying to remember what the name of it was. And I'm not talking about Shadow Mordor, but I'm talking about like characters just popping up on you in surprise. Because I'm pretty sure I played it, and I just can't remember the name of it right now. That'd be interesting. I'm glad you threw that idea out there. So I'm sitting here trying to process that, and I know I got one thing I got to do. So you will hear silence for a moment because I will mute because I got to divulge some information. But yeah, that's a cool concept. Now I really do have to think this one through because you gave me some thoughts to work with. So I do have to come up with a name for this. But the basic premise is you create your own character. It's a beat 'em up. You get like I guess we gotta figure out a number of different gangs. That would be pretty. Huh. Damn. I did not care. Okay, let's switch. Switch, man. You messing with me now? You gotta be. She's just gonna roll out and plot somebody with a brick in the head. Hey, what's up, Dark Boy? Oh man, I yeah, I really I gotta flesh this one out. I gotta flesh this one out. So give me one second. Yeah, I'm gonna be. Y'all gonna hear silence for a moment. There's a joke there, but I'm not going to run with that joke. I'm going to shut up. I'm going to shut up now before I get myself banned off YouTube and Twitch and every other platform. oh, oh man, that's funny as hell. But Trinell's right. At least you know she got your back in the fight. oh man. Oh gosh. Uh, but I think I'm going to properly come up with a name for this idea. Uh, oh man. No, no. I was just thinking of like someone with a wooden spoon and like hitting you every time you tried to either you did something out of line or you tried to get a bit of food too early. You just catch a whack in the head. And I don't know why that popped up into my head first, but that was the cleaner way to say it. Oh man. And I kind of do apologize that I had to do this while I'm running an errand. I kind of had to stop at a pharmacy for something for my wife. So I was like, I'll try this out while I'm doing a pharmacy run. But the other idea, and I've kind of talked about something like this before under the context of Metroid Dread before it became Metroid Dread, and and I know this is that's because Jay dislikes roguelike games, but I know this would be the one that he would play is to have a Metroid based roguelike where every situation, like you basically doing quick runs through different locations, but each location has a differing layout every time you go to it. And like depending on how the layout is set up, that's how you get your different upgrades and stuff, and you get to keep your upgrades permanently. But they basically your upgrades change how the layout of areas works. Like if you go into an area with like having the what's the word the grapple beam grapple. You go into an area with grapple beam, it'll have things in place that weren't there the last time you were there. So basically something that transforms what's your plan available on what you have in stock. And also you have a limited number of different upgrades that you're allowed to take with you each time you enter into one of these spaces. Not necessarily like that could just be a game where the world transforms depending on what you're doing, but you have more than one world to go to. So that would be, and again, I know this, it would be very roguelike, but it wouldn't necessarily be similar. Sorry for your ears, people, if you were listening with earbuds, because I know that blast of wind had to do something to somebody's cranium. But I wanted to expand on this idea because I want to do another discussion about Android and what they would do following Dread to the idea of clones. But I haven't really down on how that would be utilized. Yeah, it is very windy where I am. Extreme. Wasn't so bad when I was first walking. It just like as the day went on, it got a little bit windier. So I'm trying not to get, not to have you hear all that, but muting is exactly as fast as the mobile you're using. Then I'm listening back to like, man, how did I put up with me for that? But and, at least when it comes down to that is a tremendous area that was pair using them extend phones. And obviously, well, sure y'all that I hit when I'm where I am, and it drops me. And that's probably also the mic because it looks like. But if my mic still clear, or is it messed up again like it was just a little bit ago? Oh, okay, cool, cool, cool. And StreamYard seems to give me everything a little bit slower on mobile because on PC I almost see it right away. So I have to take that into account. Um, but yeah, what I was trying to say before I was so rudely interrupted by the internet is I want to push the idea of, or do a revised version of the idea, talking about like a Metroid game after Dread, where Samus has to deal with her clones. But I also want to incorporate what could technically be like a nightmare system in it, like sort of like the nightmare system that's in Mega Man X6, but actually competent, where like the environments change depending on what your equipment loadout is, and not necessarily that you can only go a certain way at a certain time or after you have a certain piece of equipment, or if you're skilled enough to hack your way around it. And I think that that could be something pretty cool, especially if they did like they like do this as a 2D Metroid, but do a multi-world format like Metroid Prime 3. So you have multiple locations you go to take on your different clones to get Samus's abilities built up or back. And again, all the clones are like based on a hyper focused version of what Fusion Samus was. Because they're the X parasites that have copied her DNA that the Federation has captured, and they've basically molded them into what they wanted them to be. So I'm wondering how that would work. Yeah, speed running community for a 2D roguelike Metroid game. Yeah, they would definitely go nuts. But they would hate me with some of the stuff I would want implemented that would kind of inhibit some speed runs until they really figured out how to work around them. And I think having a system that's like Metroid 2, Return of Samus or Samus Returns, where you have like a counter for like the number of clones of Samus that are left, like the ones that you have to defeat. I'm not saying that would have to be the total number of clones because I remember saying in the discussion I did before, you could have clones that are sympathetic to Samus that don't want to fight her that she can liberate, and then you could have the ones that don't give a fuck. And I got this special ability. She had it. Let's go ahead and fight. Because I would love to see people playing something like that. Hell, I'd love to play something like that myself. I'd do a full playthrough. But you also have to think like the way it would work. Most people's playthroughs wouldn't be exactly the same because the way it would be set up is you have multiple different options of upgrades you could go for first, which changes how the terrain would be in one location is another, and that would be an interesting thing. I think JKB JKB Games is working on was essentially a Mega Man X Metroidvania game that works sort of like that. If anybody knows what about Mega Man X Corrupt, what's it called? What's it called? But that's what I want to see an ice cream truck rolling down. I think that could be cool, and I want to dive in on that idea and work on it. But I also again test my stuff, and I'm about to jump off because I wasn't planning on being on very long. I told you guys it was going on in a half hour. I still had other stuff I want to talk about. But I'll do more. Popping up little random like this, and catching everybody off guard. I just have to make sure that my stuff is stable before I do it next time. But thank you everybody that joined in, and sorry for the wind you suffered damage from. Uh, and if you were on Naruto and you fired your end, I'm also more sorry. But catch you guys. Peace out.